baby has come to visit us. You want to come say hi to them? If I pick her up, she might kill me. Should I try? Let's do it. Baby, you want to say hi? Come here. No. Oh. Oh. Say hi. Say hi to the people. You got picked up. Yes, you did. You guys know that the elderly gentleman loves to be picked up and held all the time. She is the youngest, and like when she was younger, she would not let you pick her up for the life of her. Now I'm able to pick her up for a few seconds and put her back down, and she's fine with it. So slowly she's getting accustomed to this idea. Yes, you are. You're becoming an even bigger baby pup, huh? Yeah. I'm going to be going to a thrift store today because I want to see if they have any cute stuff. Even though, like, lately 90% of the time I go to the thrift store, I just come away disappointed and overwhelmed by the strange smell. However, does that make me lose hope and never go again? Apparently not. Because, like, on the other hand, the other like 10% of the time I find something like really, really cute. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So that's the story. We're going to the thrift store. You are not going to the thrift store though, baby. The thrift store is not a place for princess cats. Mm-mm. Why won't it blow off? I'm so sleepy. I feel like I might be getting sick. And like, I know you can't get sick this quickly, but I feel like I'm sick from the point I went to the thrift store. Like I caught it there. If I am sick, maybe I'm just ran down. Like sometimes it's hard for me to tell, like, am I sick? Am I just really ran down? Like I overdid it. Admittedly, earlier today, my body was like, I want to stay home. And I was like, no, we're gonna go to the thrift store. And then I also went on a little bit of a walk. So my body might just be like upset at me for that. I'm getting like really tired of this like post-viral thing I told you guys about. Like I'm just so ready for my full energy to come back. But alas, here we are. Here we are. Anyway, my big dream for tomorrow is I want to show you guys my fine china collection, or at least like pieces from it. It's not very impressive, but like I've randomly become a china girl. Like I'm like all about the fine china lately and I don't know why. Yeah, I'm very excited about the pieces I added to my collection today, and I'll have to tell you about them when I'm not dying and like have to go to sleep. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. This is a new way to wave. Just weirdly wiggle your fingers. Bye. So I'm feeling a lot better today. I pretty much rested all morning and early afternoon, except for one very, very frustrating hour-long phone call to a customer support line that I did tell you guys already about on my Instagram stories. By the end of it, I was like, I don't even think this is a big enough issue for me to have wasted an hour on. And so even though it's not resolved, I have officially given up, and I will live with it. This chocolate ice cream is so good. It is the chocolate chip from Haagen-Dazs, and I'm like obsessed with it. I love their chocolate ice cream, but this one is the chocolate ice cream, but with little flakes of like chocolate in it. It's so good. So I told you guys that I'm getting into the fine china era of my life, and I don't know what caused this. Though yesterday, as I was like hand washing all of the china I got, I was like, oh, if only I had one of those cupboards where you display all your china. And then I was like, am I 80 years old? Is this how it happens? Like one day you wake up and you're like, I have to collect fine china and put it in a cabinet? Am I old enough for this? I don't know. Anyway, whether I am or not, it has happened to me. But I'm gonna show you guys pieces from my china collection that I have like gathered up here. This is obviously not all of it. I just found like one piece per set more or less that I have to show you. And I'm gonna try to go in order of when I got it. So first of all, we have this. So I have the teacups that match these saucers, and then I think like a creamer and a sugar cube cup, but it just has gold leaf edging and this very interesting black and white design. Now it was made by a fine porcelain company in Bavaria in Germany, which I guess is a region that's like famous for its fine china. Now, I don't know how old this one is either. I've like looked for it online and I couldn't find it, but I think I inherited this when I was a kid because I've had it most of my life at this point. So I guess you could say this was technically the start of my fine china collection. So when I got this, I was like, I can put it in my hope chest because I had just been like reading so many books like Little Women where, you know, like you start collecting stuff as a little girl and you start sewing your table linens and stuff in obviously the 19th century, not the 2000s, but like in my little imaginary mind, I was like, I need to start a hope chest too because the girls in all these books are doing it. Anyway, here's my hope chest porcelain. It has many friends and none of it live in a chest, by the way. So anyway. Next up is these wheat cups, and I feel like I have a few saucers that go with this too. These were made in Japan. I genuinely don't remember getting these unless I got them at the same time as when I was a kid, because I've also had them a long time, but I don't know exactly where they came from. Anyway, I only have like a couple of cups and saucers of this set, and I don't know how old it is either. So next up we have this plate. I only have this singular plate of this design. It has like pretty pink flowers and gold edging, but what's notable about this one, other than the fact that it was made in Ireland, is that it is bone china. So if you follow my other channel, Ellie Dashwood, where I talk about history and literature, bone china was first developed, I believe, in the mid 1700s. And what it is that makes it special from fine china, like, so for example, this is just fine china, this is bone china. Now, fine china is a mixture of certain types of clay and other things that make it that. However, bone china has actual cow bones in it that are ground up into a white dust and like powder and then put into the mix. Somewhere between maybe like 25 to 40% of this is ground up cow's bones. Now, the reason that is because it actually makes the porcelain stronger and more chip resistant. And even though it was first developed in the mid 1700s, it wasn't until like maybe the 1780s and 1790s that it had really been perfected and went into more major production and became more common in England. Anyway, that is the history of bone china. Another really random fact about bone china is that it does use cow bones traditionally. However, because those are considered important in certain religions, there are non-cow bone chinas made from other animals' bones available on the market today. So, fun fact there. Okay, so the next piece of fine china that I have is this set. Now, it has these pretty flowers on it and this like gold trim, but what made me actually buy this set at the thrift store, because I do actually remember how I got this one, unlike some of the other ones, is the fact that it was made in occupied Japan. So this was made in the years shortly after World War II when Japan was still under occupation. I know that because it literally says made in occupied Japan on its back of it. And of course, as someone who loves history, I just thought that was a fascinating aspect of this set that I have. I do not eat off this china because, now this is very important. It's so important that I feel like legally thrift stores should have a sign about this by their antique dish section. And that is that plates before 1971, and especially ones that have designs on them like this, might contain lead. And people do actually get lead poisoning from eating off of vintage and antique plates, especially children, because the small amounts on these plates that might be leaching into their food has a higher impact on them. So if you have vintage or antique plates, definitely look into whether you should or should not actually be eating off of them still. So I basically keep this for looks, and I do, like, you know, keep like little trinkets in it and stuff. Like all my hair barrettes are in one of these down in my bathroom. Okay, now we are finally getting to the china that I got yesterday. Are you guys ready for this? I'm not ready for this, but we're doing it. Okay, so this set, it's really pretty and white, and it has like the most like delicate, pretty little details on it, and I love it. It is from a German porcelain company too. This was made around 1981. It's the Baroness line from a company whose name I'm not capable of pronouncing. And also because this is from Germany, let me give a shout out to all of my German audience. Hi! Guten Tag, ich bin Ellie. I learned that from a language app once. I just wanted to give a shout out to my German audience because I've discovered that I have a rather larger German audience than average on both of my channels. So I was like, hey, maybe German people just really like Jane Austen. But whatever the case, I just wanted to say hi to all of you in Germany and everywhere else too. But the Germans did also give me epic plates, so they're getting a special shout out here. Them and Japan and Ireland, and also this. Guess where this is from? This is the other thing I got at the thrift store yesterday, by the way. I got this set. It's called the Petite Fleur set, and it's made by a company called Villeroy and Boch that was originally launched in 1748. So, long history of making fine china. But can you guess what country it's from? If you guessed Luxembourg, you were correct. But did you guess Luxembourg? If you're from Germany, you may have, because apparently this is still like a big brand in Europe and Germany and stuff. I just love it, and it has pretty flowers. Now, random fact, since we're just getting into random facts in this video. When I was probably like 13 years old, I learned about Luxembourg in geography? Yeah, geography class. We had to pick a country to do a report on. I randomly picked Luxembourg because, guys, does that not just seem like a real world Genovia, like from the Princess Diaries? Like, it's a tiny country in the middle of Europe. Anyway, after doing that report on Luxembourg, I decided that when I grew up, I needed to move to Luxembourg. I have yet to make that dream a reality, but I do have some epic bowls from there now. So thank you, Luxembourg. Shout out to all of my Luxembourg viewers. Actually, if you are from Luxembourg, please comment down below and let me know that you exist, because I don't actually even know if anyone watches me there. But I wanted to go to your country when I was 13. And that, my friends, has been my fine china collection that may or may not grow, despite the fact that I have nowhere to put it, because alas, I do not have a china cupboard. Baby? Hi, my princess. Okay, guys, so this is what's currently happening. I'm working on my novel again. So if you remember the novel I started working on probably last like October, that one. Okay, this is the story. This is what happened. So as you guys will probably recall, I went through like this really big like era of depression and burnout, and my videos being like weirdly, needlessly moody. I mean, they're probably needlessly moody all the time, but like during that time, it was like extra bad. Anyway, that's when I started working on this novel. And eventually, when I realized I was depressed and burned out, because I didn't realize that at first, guys, as weird as that might seem. Like, we're only so emotionally aware over here. But like once I realized that, I was like, you know what? I need to like take a step back from everything, like really take everything back to basics, start really slow, build up from there. And so one of the things that I cut was working on my novel. But in all of these months since then, it has been in the back of my mind developing. And some days I would just like think a lot about it and like develop its plot line more. And it's dramatically evolved from what I thought it would be like last October. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to start working on it again, and I'm being like very chill about it in my head because I do have that tendency to be all or nothing, be like, I have to work on this thing constantly until it's done, versus I can just write a little bit here and a little bit there and it'll get done when it gets done, right? No pressure. And so we're going with this no pressure feel here. Okay, what I was doing the other day is I started building out my book database in Notion. Like I told you guys in a previous vlog, like a long time ago, about how I like to build book databases in Notion where I, write about characters and like their personalities, their backstory, who they're related to, their full names, physical descriptions, so that I can reference back to that when I'm writing. But I have been really kind of struggling to start writing the story. Like I have like the very first opening scene and I'm having this big giant mental debate of like if I want to write this book in third person or first person, because I do have a tendency to write in first person and I love it. But like the other night when I was having inspiration, I wrote like the whole sort of like intro prologue of this book in third person. And so, okay, tell me if this is a crazy idea, even if you say it's crazy, you might probably still do it anyway, but like, this is it. Writing like prologues and maybe like every few chapters in third person, or just, have you ever seen those books? Like I feel like the original Austenland by Shannon Hale does this, where there'll be the main story and then like every once in a while or every so many chapters, there'll be like a little tiny short chapter that's actually like a story from her past or like a flashback or something. So kind of doing the same thing, only having it be the current story in third person to see what like other people's perspective on a situation is versus the main character's perspective being told in the first person throughout the story. And like that would be the bulk of the narrative. But like you get these little like sparks of otherness. I don't know. Is this crazy? Is this a crazy idea? I might do it anyway, but that's what I'm thinking about. So that is one issue I've been having with the story, is the first versus third person. The other thing is I'm struggling to begin at the beginning. Cause like I have these like fully formed scenes in my head, but they all take place halfway through the story. And last night I was laying in bed and I was like, I want to start writing this novel so bad, but like these scenes are just in my mind and they're not going away. But these scenes just are like calling to be written in my head. So last night I was like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm just going to start writing them. This book might be written completely out of order, or I feel like once I get these scenes out, I'll be able to go back to the beginning, but I just need to get them out. That is my plan today. My work. I'm so excited to get started on this book again. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you a writer? What story are you working on? What is the story? It was so fun hanging out with you guys today. I have to log off because of places I have to go, but as always, keep being awesome, because you're awesome. Bye!